here. Again, a Conan clip.
Love the Conan clips. Oh, sweet lord. Okay, we've got a fire prelate armor. No, tree sentinel. There we go.
Tree Sentinel, yeah, that's the first one.
This is going to be a good test of the poise points.
Yeah, so this is already my favorite here. The square off just became so much more viable. I think even more viable than kick, from my point of view.
Damn,
Because,
I remember how square off used to be, and that would have just bounced off him before. That's a drastic increase.
So I haven't.
It wasn't like he was out of stamina or anything. Like that was a full guard.
Yeah, that was full guard, and I haven't tested it on fingerprint yet, but yeah. I have a few clips where I break it, and to be honest, like kick is fine, but kick is useless when they start moving backwards. So, and square off has way more forward momentum to actually do a guard break, and you don't usually when you use kick, use it on. I have it on a dagger, which isn't that much of a threatening weapon. I could put it on other weapons, to be honest, but still. And the other option would be just to like empty hand and then kick. So I use that as well. And I think that this is the better way to use kick. Just either like left hand it here right now. So because I don't have anything in my left hand, or two hand my left hand, then you get kick. Or just soft swap to nothing and then you get kick as well. So these are...
That is a really good point. I keep forgetting that kick is just permanently bound to your unarmed, so that's something I'll try and remember in the future. I do think you're right, though, in that square off is the better option, because even if they stop guarding and you get an honest hit, you'll do a decent amount of damage, whereas kick will just kind of stagger them a bit.
Exactly. So my new default nowadays, every time I see a shield, I just instantly think kick, and that's the first thing I tend to go for, and it usually works out. Especially if you just run up to them and then spam kick, they never expect that, at least right now.
At least right now. I mean, I imagine it will still work for the first couple of tries just because it takes most people a couple of seconds to adapt to any new tactic, but it's definitely the easier option than swapping over to a whole new weapon, and it broadcasts your intentions far less.
Yeah. So...
Like Flaming Strike got a buff, didn't it?
Yeah. Here, yeah, this is one thing that I hate when invading with Conan. You have no poise, and every dagger, and you can see they already tried to abuse this at the beginning, but every dagger will just stagger you, and it can be very oppressive when facing multiple opponents like this.
He really does need that light roll because he ain't taking any hits and surviving.
Yeah, and have you played with light roll before on the Goblin, right? Or
I have very briefly played with light roll on Goblin. The problem is that the Goblin's favorite costume is like a single weight point over what light roll would otherwise be.
I
did play around with it for a short while. It was pretty fun. I ran around as naked Goblin, I think, for a while, but it just wasn't really as... I don't know, it wasn't for me. I can easily see how it can be used to great effect. I've fought enough people with the Nagakiba and Spinning Slash and Light Roll to affirm that, but it kind of threw me off, to be honest. I'm so used to the mid-roll, I'd have to practice a new distance and iframe quality all over again, which I should, but, it's a surprisingly large change.
Yeah.
I kept overshooting because the roll went for so much distance and I'm used to rolling past people.
Yeah, it's super fun. I can recommend it, actually. It's like Bloodhound Step all over again sometimes. At least it feels like this.
I've heard that, and honestly, like, it makes a lot more sense to me at the very least, because spamming dodge is a classic, but it's also not as exploitable as the essential quick step that was Bloodhound. You're not instantly coming out with an attack each time as well. It's still something that you're going to have to do the normal roll recovery from. I'm still just reeling from the fact that, what were they? Dark Flame Freya or something? They had 450 health.
Yeah.
Oh, what a save right there. 96 saved hard by his host.
Yeah.
He's not really learning very well either, is he? He's still got the same mentality that hasn't been working for him for a good minute now.
No. So what I've also noticed, I'm not sure if this was 2 patches before, but the range on the pebble is just insane, and also the tracking. I mean, look at this distance.
I think that was kind of their apology to everyone who was using Glintstone Pebble when they patched it, because they made it not stagger and do a true combo anymore, but they increased its range, and I think they increased the pebble damage and reduced the thrust damage. Although you might not want to check that for yourself. You don't quote me on that.
No. So yeah, this was just a how do you call it? Collateral damage here. I actually wanted to go for the Phantom, but the host just ran into.
Was that his entire health go back?
Yeah, almost. I think he has.
It was, bloody hell.
So he came in with, a sliver already gone. Yeah.
I mean, like, that shows 2 very important things, I guess. The first we all know already if we've been invading for any length of time, and that's you need vigor because your health is essentially your meter of how many times you can make mistakes.
Yeah.
The second one is that even if it was by accident, you made the right call going for the host, because going for the other guy was it was an exercise in can opening over and over and over, whereas the host, he was ultra aggressive and he was basically considering himself protected at all times. And in addition, he was protecting his Phantom when they got can opened from being riposted. He would just come in with that really quick sword and stagger you because you have no poise with Conan, and then you'd have to back off and then you'd start all over again.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, but again, that's the fun of invading, trying to kill them one by one just to see the host melt at the end and DC or something like that. It's just
that is
the cherry, the cherry on top. Yeah.
It's always sad when you need to cut your losses and go for the host instead of the Phantoms, but there are several situations where that's just what you got to do. And one of those situations is honestly kind of like this. You could probably still manage the Phantom here because he's obviously not that great, but it was evidently several times harder than simply killing the host. And if you were low on resources, or if things were starting to get dicey with the environment, that would pretty much be your only choice, or you'd be fighting a losing battle.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with you there. Usually, so if you're an invader and want to go for everybody and the host last, what I found out is that if you have a aggressive host like this, one strat that worked quite well for me is to, I mean, you can see his health, right? So just snipe the host with a running R2 or something like that, and make them heal until they have no heal left, so that they're automatically forced into a passive position, because otherwise they're gonna die with the next hit. And that frees up so much, so you're basically removing the host from the equation and just leaving him for the very last bite, literally. And you get time alone to spend, or like you get quality time to spend with the fingers.
Quality time. I like that, actually. That is a good way of saying it. And it's very true, because like we were talking about before with the tendency for people to survive with like 20 health, pursuing them and trying to get the kill is usually not as good as just turning around, letting them disengage, and having about 4 or 5 seconds of 1 versus 1 with another Phantom, which you are usually going to be able to seal that combat in that amount of time. Like, I did a bunch of invasions on Saturday, I think, and what was happening was that there was one guy and he had a very, very aggressive Phantom, and every time I killed that Phantom, he would just run away and resummon it, and I'd have to fight blues the entire time. So
nice.
I just ended up just ignoring the Phantom completely. He'd just try and run around behind me. I'd turn around, I'd smack him a couple of times. He'd have to back off, and then I'd have another 5 minutes with his with his host until he came back, and it would just repeat like that.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Okay, yep.
Yeah, this is the 3-man. I'm pretty sure.
Nice.
This was when I was trying my absolute hardest to make the hammer and shield work, but unfortunately my my parrying ability is pretty bad, so I wasn't exactly making the best use of the shield, and I just kind of defaulted to two-handing things towards the end of this evasion. You'll be able to see.
All right, so we have the Dragon Monk, Jorn, with a partisan. Interesting. Don't see that weapon a lot.
You don't see people with just one spear a lot either.
Okay, there we have 2 spears.
I was wondering where the other people were, but I'm fairly sure they were up the ladder, and here are the 2 spears. And this was a scary moment. Me very badly trying to parry this entire time. Double spears still staggers you regardless. I don't know what the poise value is to survive double spears, but I'm not sure I can get to it.
Yeah.
I very quickly decided to get out of the death box. That room was a hellscape.
Good decision there. Yeah, now that I see these spears, I definitely want to make a clean rod knight build. Or cosplay at least.
With the new patch.
Oh, nice. Wait, I completely missed that. That was actually a very nice finisher there. So, wait. So, running R2. Okay, you basically hyper armored this? Or was that passive poise? Not sure.
I'm pretty sure it was a combo of both, because I couldn't tank him just when he was normally attacking me, but when I got the hyper armor, suddenly I was able to. So I'm pretty sure that was hyper armor giving me the benefit there.
No, and then the follow-up R1 finishes the job. Very nice.
I'm fairly sure he was doing the double spear mentality of, I will just keep attacking and stagger him.
Yep.
Great swords being buffed, baby.
Yeah, that's also something I noticed and really love. So definitely doing more claymoring.
And Dragon's Claw as well, actually. These guys were definitely having a bit of fun with the new patch. All of the Crucible Knight stuff got buffed as well. So and Ordovis's sword, which this guy isn't using, but I have been actually meaning to make a Crucible Knight cosplay build, because it seems like it's going to be really good now. This was exactly
very nice.
Where I didn't want to be.
That was a very nice hard swap to the Giant Hunt there.
That is exactly the kind of situation I want to use it in, because everyone's nice and sort of, can't dodge to the side convincingly. They'll always be able to be hit by the tracking if they don't dodge it. Unfortunately, we have a Crucible Knight here who's also really good at crowd control, so I'm forced to essentially do some gatekeeping and back off here, but now I pull out my can opener.
Ooh, that staggers a lot. Jeez.
It does. And he knows how to use it as well. The Spectral Lance is also much, much better than it used to be.
So I gotta make some notes here of Ashes of War to play around with.
That guy was doing an intelligent thing there, because I was trapped in that little alleyway, and he was basically, should he got off that magma shot, he would have forced me to take damage to even get out of it. And if I chose, like I did here, if I chose to just stay put and not go through the magma, I'm in a corner now, so I have to commit to having a little bit of damage and get the hell out of there.
But you actually took no damage, if I saw that correctly, so that was...
I'm pretty sure I hit it in between the ticks, Not something that I'd be able to recreate, but it does happen sometimes.
Ooh.
I really liked that. I remember being real impressed that he chose to go over the wall. This guy has a really interesting style to him, but the Morningstar is still really, really good. And I really do need to play with it more. It's just got such a short range that it's outclassed by most other stuff.
Yeah. I use it occasionally, just for fun, but it also has bleed build up, which surprises a few people. Very nice finisher there. And we get a...
This is the point where I think everyone decides to bail, because no one wants to fight next to that. There's like a category of bosses and enemies that they're not even help to you. They're just as much of a danger to you as they are to the host. It is in everyone's best interest not to. This is a terrible idea. Anyone who's watching and running away from an invader, please do not start climbing a ladder. Just don't do that.
That was beautiful. Very nice invasion. So lots of stuff going on. That was a really good invasion. So
and they were pretty good as well. There was
definitely
builds that played very well.
So Yeah, not much to say actually. I think we talked about most of it. Interesting that the host is running around with the the Bloodhound Fang.
I think a Bloodhound Fang is always something that has given me problems because it's just slow enough for you to be sort of confident in dodging it, but it does just enough damage to make not dodging it a really, really bad idea.
No.
I'm just happy that the damage has been nerfed because that thing used to be able to take off a good like 75% of my entire health bar and half of its weapon art.
Yeah. So here you take the headshot, yeah.
Bonk.
From the lens. And the damage was, not that much actually, but hey. Definitely.
It's a, what was it? I can't remember what scaling. I think it gives you a cult scaling, but it's mostly useful now in the fact that it does a huge amount of stagger. I've faced a couple of people who were both using it actually, and they were sitting at the end of a real long, narrow hallway, and that was very scary if they staggered their throws because I'd have to dodge one and I'd get roll caught by the next.
This one is interesting. So did you remove the shield because you were fat rolling, or you were just done with the shield altogether, or?
It was a mixture of both, really. I wanted to be able to grab the gugs later, but I also the shield was not helping me. I am not good enough at parrying for it to have been helping me here. And with the new guard break update, I was not going to risk just. Actually, that's exactly what I mean about the turn and bird capacity of the giant hunt. People really expect it after you've assaulted. They don't tend to expect it after you've rolled away. But you cover so much distance that if you roll away, you can quite easily make it back to the person if they're still in a big animation, like they often are if you have to roll away from something.
No, and here the timing was also perfect because I think he went for the, he went for the follow-up because he was so close to you and thought, I'm definitely going to get some hits in here.
It obviously doesn't work for the longer weapons, so it's not something I would do against another UGS because that would be able to reach me after one roll, but anything greatsword and down, you really got to keep an eye on an opponent using Giant Hunt because it can come out surprisingly quickly, and it's occasionally pretty hard to catch happening because a lot happens on the screen sometimes.
No, and
a guy whose entire tactic was just to spam, was it Rykard's Rancor? And just no one could tell what was going on. People just hadn't the slightest idea what was happening.
Yeah, you get these sometimes. So, okay, nice jumping there from the Phantom. That was like one of the scenarios that I was curious about there in the corner. Yeah, this also as well. So I think here you already went for the attack, right?
Yeah, and before I saw what he was doing.
But shouldn't that already give you hyper armor, the running, or?
I think it should. I also think that tail swipe does real big poise damage, so it might not be able to be poised through. I will say that this guy definitely knows how to use his incantations. That's a really sneaky thing from around corners. In fact, this reminds me of that invasion you had in the Lindell sewers. It's the same sort of T-junction choke point battle that's happening here.
Yeah, so retreat here.
And this is consistently a really bad idea of mine. I instinctually want to retreat around the corner, but when it's a little dead end like that, I'm really just putting myself in a worse position that I have to then fight my way out of all over again.
Can you go up here on the left side? Do you know that, or?
I think you can. I think that leads up to.
Around this block or like this building, basically.
Yeah. There are a lot of staircases that just lead to a bunch of rubble in Lindell, and I can't remember if that leads anywhere or not. It could, though.
So here, you're playing around with the mace. Yeah, we saw that. So I think the running R2, and here you actually use it. Yeah,
the running R2 and the crouch poke as well are both fantastic, and they really are the reason I use the Morningstar at all. The regular attacks are nice; they come out nice and fast, but its range is pitiful.
No, but they buffed the poise damage as well, no? On the
they did. They buffed the poise damage of most hammers, which is why I wanted to check it out,
No.
because now hammers do seem like a reasonably decent choice as far as fighting high poise builds, because you'll be able to break through shields really quick, you'll be able to stagger real quick. It's not like trying to face tank a katana anymore. It actually does significantly more poise damage than it used to.
No. Was also a very nice interaction here. The double flaming strike. So yeah, flaming strike still Fox, I guess.
Oh yeah, flaming strike has only gotten better, really.
So
it's something that I always feel a little bad about spamming, but people always expect you to go for the follow-up, because people just, including myself, I must admit, just mindlessly do the entire weapon art, where really the first part is the bit that's the scariest bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I haven't done the follow-up most of the times. I like the buff that you get from it as well, because it really seems to, yeah, because it really seems to increase the damage, especially on my low-level characters.
Yeah, I think it's a flat damage buff, like the drawstring buffs and stuff like that. So it would be much better on a lower level character, I imagine.
This is just beautiful, like him dropping down, just like bonk.
It's always like half sadness, half extreme when someone does something like this. It's like,
yeah, Ornstein fell down.
That was just a sudden flashback to my Dark Souls 3's days there, where it's just like, oh, someone's on the ladder, better get up the fire pots. Instinct.
Very nice invasion. Really enjoyed that one.